Hola clase, soy la señora Nigard. Estos son los 2 días, jueves y viernes. These are the next 2 days, jueves y viernes, Thursday and Friday, el 22 y 23 de octubre. This is just for distance learners. So we're going to go through a bunch of lessons, we're going to go through a bunch of notes today. So, lección dos, we're going to take notes on AR verbs, both parte uno today and parte dos tomorrow, okay? Also, there's an AR hip hop song that you can practice to help you with your AR verb endings. And then we're going to discuss the 7 days of the week. And there's a little song that goes with that as well. So the homework then, there's going to be a worksheet. Both sides are due tomorrow. Now, if you can't print it off, you're going to have to write it out all on loose leaf. Secondly, don't forget about Quizlet. Remember, Quizlet is due next Friday. Set number 4, 90% or higher on the test, and you need to complete 3 or more activities. All right, moving along. So we're going to talk about, you're going to be writing these in your notes. You have a new packet for Lección 2. If not, then you're going to have to go back and print this out. So stop if you don't have this and go back and print it out. But if you're a distance learner, and you were a while ago, then I sent out that new set of materials, so you should have that in your hands. If not, again, you can print it out, and as soon as you have it printed out, then continue. So today we're going to talk about AR verbs. In order to talk about activities in general, we need to use verbs, right? Verbs express both actions and states of being. Okay, so we're talking about like she is, I am, etc., etc. The base form of a verb is called an infinitive. In English, it is preceded by the word to. So remember we looked at ser before? That means to be, okay? All right, in Spanish, it is a single word and can be recognized by its ending. Either AR, we're going to be looking at AR verbs only this unit. And then there's also ER and IR verbs, which you maybe have studied before when you learned a bunch of verbs, maybe in 8th grade. For example, an AR verb would be trabajar, but correr is to run, and then escribir is to write. Okay. So here are the verbs that you're going to need to copy in your notes packet. Now, just so you know, tocar was pulled out and it's over here because I want to talk about those. So let's go through those verbs and please repeat after me. Bailar, buscar, caminar, cantar, cenar, comprar, contestar, conversar, desayunar, descansar, desear, dibujar, enseñar, escuchar, esperar, estudiar, explicar, hablar, llegar, llevar, mirar, necesitar, practicar, preguntar, preparar, regresar, terminar, tomar, trabajar, viajar, and then jugar y tocar. Now, one thing I want to point out is to play. These both mean to play, but jugar means to play a sport or a board game or something like that, or even cornhole. Do you like cornhole? I do. Anyway, okay. Or tocar un instrumento. That would be, so use tocar, like to touch, is tocar, like tocar el piano. You actually have to touch the instrument to play it. So tocar with instruments and jugar with sports. Now, we're not going to conjugate this jugar, even though it's an AR verb. It's a stem changer, and so don't worry about that right now. It's a special verb. But all of these verbs up here are all regular verbs that end in AR, and they all follow the same rules. And so we're going to learn all about that. So you can either pause this and write them all down in your notes, or you can go back later and go through the our Google slideshow and do it. But I recommend just stopping and just doing it right now. Okay. All right, let's keep going. But these, you're going to be responsible for all of these, just FYI. Okay. Moving along. I don't know why. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay. Talking about conjugating verbs, there are 2 parts to the AR verb. It's called the stem, the first part, and the ending, okay? The stem is the first part. So if I had, for example, hablar, I would keep habl, and the ending is the AR. So let's talk about that. So when we have all these verbs, in the past, you probably talked about things that you like to do and you didn't like to do, like me gusta dibujar, no me gusta nadar, me gusta correr, no me gusta cantar. Oh, okay. Now we're going to start to conjugate the verb. To conjugate means to change or create the forms of them to go along with our subject pronouns. So, to create forms of or conjugate, most regular verbs in Spanish drop the ending, and then you add to the stem the endings that correspond with different subject pronouns. So, here are the endings. I want you to jot these in your notes. We have for the yo form, o, tú, has. Él, ella, and usted all use a. Nosotros is amos. Vosotros, ais. And ellos, ellas, ustedes uses, they all use on, okay? So let's take a look at the next notes then. Okay, so let's take one verb and let's see how this happens. So estudiar, we know, means to study. And you have to put to in front for each of those infinitives to something, okay? So it's the verb. Now, the way we do this is we take off the ending. So with estudiar, we remove that AR. So take the AR off, and then you just apply those endings that were on the previous slide. So yo estudio. The next one would be tú estudias. So again, you're keeping that stem and you're just putting on the new endings. The next one, estudias. You see that stem, estudi. And then o, as, a. Nosotros es estudiamos. Vosotros estudiáis con acento sobre el A. And then ellos, ellas, ustedes estudian. Okay? And that means I study, you study, he studies, she studies, you study, we study, you all study, they study, and you all study. Okay? All right. And now we're going to look at trabajar. Trabajar means to work. Again, we need that to before the verb. And the forms are trabajo, trabajas. Now take a look again. Trabaj is the stem, and the ending is the o, as, etc., etc. So we're taking the AR off of the verb and apply the new endings. Trabajo, trabajas, trabaja. So él trabaja, ella trabaja, usted trabaja. Nosotros trabajamos, vosotros trabajáis, y ellos, ellas, ustedes trabajan. And it just means I work, you work, he works, she works, you work, we work, you all work, they work, and you all work. Okay? Ooh, there's a little song. You can listen to this on your own, but it's pretty sweet. I think I already pointed it out already. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. Otra vez. So you might have gotten it before. Keep listening to this because you need to know those endings. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. Okay, and the song itself, remember, only mentions o, as, a, amos, an. They don't put the ice in there, so we have to add it back in. Okay, so it's a good way to remember these, and then when it comes to the test, or the quiz, actually, we have a quiz coming up. Quiz this coming week already on Wednesday. Okay, so we got to get these down. All right. And then we have, here are the days of the week. I want you to go through them and repeat with me. Repite por favor. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. Remember that the beginning of the week in Spanish starts with a Monday, lunes. Ours begins with Sunday, domingo, in English. And it makes more sense to me to start with lunes because I always think of lunes as the beginning of the week. So there's a little song you can sing along with. You can play this. And it's Doña Semana tiene 7 días. Lunes, martes, miércoles y jueves. Viernes, sábado y domingo al fin. Que ella es un bailarín. That's our little song, and it goes dum dum. So you can listen to that on your own and play it and sing along. Okay? All right. So our homework again is to complete this lovely worksheet. There is a link in it says a C attachment in today's lesson and the homework turn-in spot for today. And there are two sides to this. So don't forget that. Remember, if you don't have a printer, you're going to write it all out on loose leaf and turn it in tomorrow by 9:30 a.m. That's your homework. So just like until you use those endings o, as, a, amos, ais, an. So you're taking first. You need to. It says define the verb in English. Remember, you need the to first, then cross off the endings, rewrite the stems, so you'd be like enseña, 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 and then you just put the endings on. So add the correct AR verb ending. So o, as, a, amos, ais, an. You do that for each of these different verbs. Hey, do you know what pescar means? That's not on our list. Pescar, you might have learned it before. Anyway, pescar means to fish, and it's a pretty sweet verb to know in Minnesota. So write down to fish, okay? All right, and so that was jueves. If you want to keep going, you can, but a lot of us just want to take a break and start out again viernes. So we'll pretend like today is viernes. Hola, hoy es viernes el 23 de octubre. Hoy vamos a practicar con los 7 días de la semana. So we're going to practice with 7 days of the week and take more notes. This is the part 2 of the AR verbs. The homework is going to be the workbook packet. So you should have gotten that. If you didn't, then you're going to have to print it off. And again, if you don't have a printer, you're going to just have to write it on loose leaf. So you're going to do that. So what you're going to do on that page is page 29, la página 29, y solo ejercicio uno. You can skip the word search because I think it's really just kind of busy work. And then completar, por favor, página 30. So 29 y 30, skipping the bottom part on 29. And then don't forget about your Quizlet. Remember, set 4, you have to study this. You have to get 90% or higher on the test and then complete 3 more activities to get all 20 points. Okay, and this is due, I think the 30th. Does that sound right? I think so. All right, so let's get going. We have, first of all, let's talk about the calendar. ¿Qué día es hoy? We have our calendario. Aquí está octubre. Hoy día, ¿qué día es hoy? Pues hoy, as we know, es jueves. Es jueves hoy. ¿Qué día fue ayer? Ayer fue miércoles. ¿Qué día será mañana? Mañana será viernes. Why am I getting that mixed up? So, hoy es jueves, ayer fue miércoles, y mañana será viernes. Bien. Okay. Now, I don't know if you've learned these or not, but I would jot these in your notes. There isn't a spot for this where it's just a fill-in, so I want you to fill these in. These are the seasons. We need to know these, I think. So the word for the seasons is las estaciones. Say las estaciones. All right. Okay. So the first one is spring. We have la primavera. Summer is el verano. Fall is el otoño. And then winter is el invierno. So jot these in your notes. You can pause this and jot those in your notes, okay? All right. Now, here are the 12 months of the year, though, because we were just talking about octubre. And I want to go through each of these. So please repeat after me. Here we go, starting with repiten, por favor. Enero, febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. And then there's a little part of the song that goes, Estos son los 12 meses del año. Sorry, I can't sing, but I'm doing it. So that's the second little part, and they repeat that twice at the end of the song. So notice that, again, just like the days of the week, the months are all lowercase. Interesting. Make sure when you are ready, then go ahead and play this and sing it and impress the socks off of your parents, okay? All right, let's go on to some notes then for today. We're on slide 15. Oh, actually, I have a little more work for you to do. Oh, here's a little exercise. I love this. So take out your vocab sheet, and I want you to spend a couple of minutes. This is just a practice exercise. Take a couple of minutes, and I want you to make matches between each question here with its most logical response. It says, oh, careful, one of these responses will not be used. So you can just jot down on a piece of paper 1 through 6, and then just write the letters of what goes where, and then you can check your answers on the next slide. But before you do that, try ejercicio número 4, escoger, choose. It says identify the word that does not belong in each group. So as you read each of these words, and you're going to use your vocab list and figure out which of those lists, in each line there, which one is the one that doesn't belong. And then write that down. And then you can check your answers on the next slides, okay? So you can do that now and pause and do all this. And then when you're ready, continue. And so we have the answers on the next one. And then, oh, here's another one you can try. So here's more vocab. So look at these words and try to figure out qué tipo de clase es. ¿Qué clase es? Por ejemplo, los elementos, los átomos es la clase de química. It's the class of chemistry class. So what do you think when you read these? What classes do you think they are? You need your vocab list for that. And then again, on the next slide, you'll check your answers. Okay, so you can pause now and do this. And as soon as you're ready, let's keep going. Check your answers on the next slide. All right, let's keep going. Let's do these AR verb conjugations. So in your notes, again, we have the next page. So I think it's page 5 in your notes after the last AR notes. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you guys in the last little bit where it's located. I think that was page 4. This is page 5. I think so. I have it right here. So this is the packet that you should have. And then inside, I have on page 2 and 3 actually were, and 4 were the pages that we already did. And now we're on page 5. So that's this one right here. You must have this. Okay. So this is the next section. When two verbs are used together with no change of subject, the second verb is usually in the infinitive, in that original form, like ser, or trabajar, estudiar. So we don't do anything. So usually when there are two verbs, not together as a list, like not saying I dance, I swim, I scream, but I wish to do something, and those are two verbs that are together, and this is an example of it, then we call it BOGO. I like to use BOGO because, if you like to shop and stuff, BOGO means buy one, get one free. So you conjugate your first verb, and then the second verb, just leave it in the infinitive. So it's like a freebie. So this one right here, deseo, means I wish to speak with Señor Diaz. We would say, deseo hablar con el Señor Diaz. You do not conjugate the second verb, just leave it in the infinitive. That's pretty cool. We would use it with a lot of different verbs, but I think we're just using desear today. Desear just means to wish or to want, okay? Then, super easy. If you ever want to make a sentence negative in Spanish, all you need to do is add the word no and put that before the conjugated verb. So no means not. So instead of saying Alicia wishes to dance now, we want to say Alicia doesn't want to dance right now or doesn't wish to dance right now. We would just say Alicia no desea bailar ahora. Now, Spanish speakers often omit or leave out the subject pronouns because conjugated verbs usually indicate who the subject is. So when we look at that chart and we have yo and tu, those forms already in the yo form and the tu form. Same thing with the nosotros and the vosotros. It's just when we get to the ellos and ellas and ustedes that use the same form as does el, ella, usted, it's a good time to probably announce or use that subject pronoun. So let's look at examples. So when we say, ¿qué enseñan? What do they teach? Well, we want to actually do this to clarify who's doing what. So for example, ella enseña arte y él enseña física. So she teaches art and he teaches physics, okay? And sometimes we want to use it to emphasize our point. ¿Quién desea trabajar hoy? Who wants to work today or who wishes to work today? Well, you could say, yo no deseo trabajar hoy. I don't want to work today. Or you could even just say, no deseo trabajar hoy, and it means the same thing. So oftentimes these are optional, where you know that the yo form is already built into the verb, so you don't even need the yo. You could just say, no deseo trabajar hoy. It's just when we want to point out who is who, because enseña, it could be él, ella, or usted, right? So we want to say, él enseña física, ella enseña arte. Yeah. Atención, and unless referring to a person, the Spanish verbs buscar, escuchar, esperar, and mirar do not need to be followed by prepositions like for, of, from, to, as they do in English. They don't need the words para or de or a or all after the verb because, get this, it's already been built into the verb. So the verb buscar means to look for. So you don't say busco para, because I'd be saying I look for, or one person looks for. It would be redundant, repetitive. We don't want to do that. Escuchar means to listen to. So the to is already built into the verb. So you wouldn't say escucho a la radio, because I'd be saying I listen to the radio. And then this one, espero a mi tarea. I'm waiting for my homework. We wouldn't say that. That wouldn't work. We just say espero mi tarea. And then mirar a, you wouldn't say mirar a because it means look at. Okay? So let's look at examples here. So if I want to say I'm looking for the homework, we would just say busco la tarea, not busco para la tarea. Just busco la tarea. Otherwise, you'd be saying, I look for the homework. I don't want to do that. And then this next one, I'm listening to the music, would just be escucho la música. So you don't need a there. Otherwise, you'd be saying, I listen to the music. Doesn't work. Okay? All right. Well, that's it for notes. But if you're feeling kind of crazy today, here's a little Justin Timberlake remake and talking about what does it mean to conjugate a verb. Okay, so play this video to review how to conjugate regular AR verbs. If for some reason you just want to have some fun today, or because you need a little extra practice. But play this video, it is hilarious. Okay, all right. Here's a little song, that song, then Doña Semana tiene 7 días. Repeat after me again, just to practice her 7 days of the week. Lunes, martes, miércoles, jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. Muy bien. Okay, 7 days of the week. You need to know those. All right. This is stuff we already did, so you don't need that. Yay. Okay, so cross that off. You already finished that. So that is it for the week. You get to just go relax now, do some homework, finish it up. You've got 2 days of stuff to do. You're going to be pretty busy, so get to work and don't forget to input your homework and work on Quizlet, okay? Hasta luego. Ciao.